Jacob and Emily had just moved into their new home, a cozy two-story house in a quiet suburban neighborhood. It wasn't anything grand, but it was perfect for them and their 6-year-old daughter, Lily. The house had been on the market for months, which should have been a red flag, but they shrugged it off as a lucky find. Lily was ecstatic about her new room. It had a large window overlooking the backyard, a walk-in closet, and most importantly, a little attic storage space just for her. At least, that's how she saw it. From the moment they moved in, she would talk about how she had a new friend who lived up there. At first, Jacob and Emily dismissed it as an imaginary friend. "What's her name, sweetheart?" Emily had asked. Lily smiled and whispered, "Her name is Ellie, and she likes to stay in the attic." A harmless fantasy, they thought, but things changed when Lily's drawings started to get disturbing. She would draw herself, her parents, their house, but always there was another figure, a tall, dark shape standing in the attic. It had long, spindly fingers, hollow eyes, and no mouth. "That's just Ellie," Lily would say nonchalantly when her parents asked. One evening, as Emily tucked Lily into bed, she found a fresh drawing on the nightstand. It was their house, but this time there was something different. The dark figure wasn't in the attic anymore. It was standing in the hallway right outside Lily's room. That night, Emily and Jacob barely slept. They kept telling themselves it was nothing, just a child's overactive imagination. But deep down, something felt wrong. Then the attic door opened on its own. It was past midnight when Jacob heard the sound, a slow, deliberate creak. His stomach dropped. He grabbed a flashlight and tiptoed to the hallway, his heart pounding in his chest. The attic door, which had always been shut, was now slightly ajar. He climbed the small ladder, pushing the door open wider. The attic was empty, just old boxes and dust-covered furniture, but the air was ice cold. His breath fogged in front of him. Then, just as he was about to leave, he saw it. Carved into the wooden floor were the words, "Let me out." Jacob scrambled down the ladder, slammed the attic door shut, and bolted it. He told himself it was just a prank, something the previous owners had left behind. He didn't sleep for the rest of the night. The next morning, they found Lily's latest drawing on the fridge. This time, it wasn't just a shadow. The figure had eyes now, wide, soulless eyes. And it wasn't in the attic. It was standing behind Jacob. That same day, they called a priest. He arrived that afternoon, an older man with a calm but serious demeanor. As he walked through the house, he paused by Lily's door. "She talks to it?" he asked. Emily nodded. "She calls her Ellie." The priest's face darkened. "It's not Ellie, it never was." The blessing was performed immediately, filling every room with the scent of burning sage and holy water. As the priest murmured his prayers, the house seemed to groan in response. Then, as he reached the attic, Lily screamed. Emily and Jacob ran to her room, finding her curled in the corner, sobbing. "She's angry," Lily whimpered. "She says you're hurting her." The priest didn't stop. He sprinkled the last of the holy water over the attic entrance, sealing it with a prayer. Then, silence. Lily never spoke of Ellie again. The drawing stopped, the whispers faded. But Jacob and Emily never dared open the attic door again, and yet, every now and then, in the dead of night, they hear scratching from the attic, trying to get out. When I was 13, I developed a habit of drawing before bed. It was something that calmed my mind, helped me process the day, and sometimes even inspired my dreams. One night, while going through some old things in the attic, I found an old sketchbook buried under a pile of forgotten clothes. It was tattered, its pages yellowed with time, and yet it still had a weird, unsettling charm to it. I didn't remember ever owning it, but it was filled with drawings, pages upon pages of sketches of people. But here's the thing. The faces weren't normal. Some had hollow eyes, some had wide, stretched-out smiles, and some had expressions of pure terror, their mouths frozen mid-scream. The more I flipped through the pages, the more uneasy I felt. Then I reached the last few pages. They were blank. I figured I'd use them to add my own sketches. That night, I sat at my desk and began to draw a face of my own. Just a simple one. A woman with short hair and tired eyes. Nothing creepy. I left the book open on my desk and went to sleep. Around midnight, I woke up cold and shivering, despite my blankets covering me. My room felt wrong. I looked toward my desk and the sketchbook was open, but the drawing was different. The woman's eyes were open now. When I drew her, I left her eyes blank, just an outline. But now, she had eyes, dark, sunken ones. I told myself I must have drawn them half asleep and just forgot about it. I closed the sketchbook, threw it under my bed, and went back to sleep. But the next night, I opened the book again. The woman's face had changed even more. Her mouth had shifted into a faint, unsettling smile. A chill ran through me. I knew I hadn't drawn that. Something was wrong. I tore the page out, crumpled it, and tossed it into the trash. But something about the book made it impossible to ignore. I felt drawn to it, like I had to check it again before going to bed. I hesitated, then flipped through the pages. One of the old drawings had changed too. A man I didn't remember sketching before now had his head tilted slightly, like he was watching me. I shut the book immediately. That night, I had the worst sleep paralysis of my life. I woke up in my bed, unable to move. My breathing felt shallow, my body stiff as a board. Then I heard it, a soft, whispery scratching noise. It was coming from the desk. With great effort, I managed to shift my eyes toward the sketchbook. It was open again. A pencil lay next to it, rolling slightly as if it had just been dropped. Then, from the darkest corner of my room, I saw her, the woman from my drawing. She stood perfectly still, just a shadowy figure at first, until she took a single step forward. Her eyes were locked onto mine, the same dark, sunken eyes that had appeared in the sketch. I tried to scream, to move, to do anything, but I couldn't. She inched closer, her lips curling into that same unnatural smile. Then she whispered, "Keep drawing me." The lights flickered violently, and just like that, my body jerked awake. I shot up, gasping for air, my hands trembling. The room was empty, but the sketchbook was still open on my desk, and on the blank page I had left the night before, there was a new drawing, a self-portrait of me, with the same hollow eyes and that same eerie smile. If you enjoyed this story and want more spine-chilling tales, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, some nightmares begin the moment you stop watching. Sleep tight, and I'll see you in the next video.